So in the previous session, we have seen that how do we fetch data from Salesforce, and how do we use wire method, right? Wire method in two ways, like call Apex method and store data in wire properties, and also we can call Apex class using wire methods. After that, we have seen call Apex methods imperatively, meaning we can call Apex class explicitly based on the user interaction. Like, means user can decide when we need to call Apex class, right? So today we're going to talk about how do we use events in LWC, how we can create events in LWC and dispatch event, how we can communicate between child to parent. We have already seen that how we can communicate from parent to child, right? So we can use public methods and public variables or public properties to communicate between parent to child. In this session, we're going to talk about how communications happens between two related components from child to parent. So if you guys can see here, let me open this link and we will talk about it. Okay, I think it's already there. Dispatch. Okay, so create and dispatch events, right? In Salesforce, we can create events. Similarly, just a syntax change here in Aura and LWC, right? But the concept is same. We have to register event on the child component, and we have to handle that event on the parent component. So here we have to use this event.dispatch event method to dispatch the event, and to create the event, right? We need to use the custom event method or constructor. Later on, we will be dispatching the event by name, and whatever parameter we want to pass, we can pass it on. So here are some details for us. I'm just following this standard document. Okay. So to create a custom event and dispatch it from the child, it has one required parameter, which is indicating string and type of event. So you guys can see these are some instructions that we need to follow. No uppercase letters, no spaces, use underscores to separate the words for event. So here is the example that this is the standard example. You can see this is the paginator is one LWC component and another one is event simple, right? So event simple is parent component and the paginator is child component. And what they are doing here is, you guys can see, okay. I'll explain this and we'll talk about it, and we'll see one example, real-time example. So Here, if you guys can see, this is the child component pagenet.html. It's a template of the child component. They have just taken these two buttons, next and previous, right? Based on those buttons, they have on click, previous handler and next handler. Into that, what they are doing here is they are just creating new events here and dispatching this dot dispatch event. This is the syntax that we need to follow to register event at the child component. So this dot on click of that method, we are firing this event. This dot dispatch event is the method, and new custom event is the constructor in which we're passing this string. We're calling this event, right? We are firing this event previous. So what's happening here in the parent component, right? So new custom event, what we are doing here is so if you guys can see here, right, on previous, right, if you are passing this previous, right, if you are firing this event, so on the parent component we have to append and here, right? So what will happen whenever you click on this button, right, previous handler button here in the child component, it will look at this event, previous event, and what happened here is on previous it will append on, we need to append on here. So on previous, here you will see one method, previous handler. So on previous, this method will get called, and whatever thing you have to do here in this method, you can just do here in this method. So this is the handler method in the parent component. So what we are doing here is this dot page is we have taken one variable on the parent component which we have assigned 1 as value, and what we're doing is if it is greater than 1, then we are setting up value this dot page -1, and if it is next, we are just increasing it by 1. Now, so next example, I would like to give you this example. Okay, so what I will do is I will just go back into the VS Code, and what I'll do is I'll create new component here. Custom event demo bash 3. Okay, saved successfully. So the first thing, you guys all know that we need to set up this, right? It's lightning tab. Okay, 1 second. I'm just taking all of this so we can put it everywhere on these options. Okay, I'll save these, and oh, sorry. We have to put it here. Don't save. Okay. And in JS, what we need to do is, I'm just referring this example only. Okay. Contact list item. 1 second, guys. Custom demo bash. I will just I want to delete it. Okay, I'll create new one. So it's a child component, so name should be custom child com. -3. I'm just taking this and putting it here. So here what we'll do is, what happened? Okay, so what we'll do is in this child component, okay, we'll take one contact as variable. Before we use it, we need to import this model here, okay, and here we will be having one method in which we will be dispatching this event. Okay, and let me go to the parent and I'll take this out. I'll deploy this. So what we did here is, one second, classes, contact controller, we have this contact picture URL, okay. So what I'll do is, I'll save this, okay. So let me explain you what we are doing here is, so we have taken this href as a URL. Let me put lightning card here. So lightning card, and into this card we'll put this. So a href, we have taken this link, and on this link, on click, we are calling the select handler method, which is there in this JS file, okay. So in this select handler, what we're doing is, we are creating this event here. We have taken just a local variable select event equal to new custom event, and we're giving name of the event is selected, and into that we're passing these details. So contact is public variable here in the child component. We'll let you know how we are passing this value. We're passing value to this contact. So what we are doing here is, we have taken this parameter, okay, details. So this is the syntax that we need to follow here. We need to create a new custom event, right? This is the constructor of the custom event, and into it we need to give the event name as a first thing, and second, comma separated, we have to pass this parameter. So this is the name of the parameter, and the right side will be value of it, okay. And after that we need to put the statement. So event will get fired. This dot dispatch event method we need to call, and into that we will be passing this event, whatever event we have created here. Okay, so and this is the method event.default prevent default is the method which will prevent the default behavior of HTML URL, right? As we have taken this href, right? So instead of navigating to this URL, it will just keep that behavior. So it will not navigate to anywhere. So I will just save this component here, deploy this source. It's a custom field that I have created on the contact object. Okay. So next thing what we want to do is I'll go back to this page and we will create one more component which will be our parent component. And what I'll do is I'll just go here, new lightning component, custom event parent comp -3, and again what I'll do is I will take this out so it will not create problem for us. Okay, custom event parent, and I will just expose this property so we can embed this component anywhere. Custom event parents. Okay, here is the HTML, here is the JavaScript file, and in the JavaScript, if you guys can see, so we need to call our Apex class first, right? So I'll do is I'll simply put this statement, and as we need to call Apex, right? I'll just mention wire here, get contact list. Okay, and we have taken this select contact. I will explain this code. Just taking for time being, I'm just taking reference of this. So selected contact. Okay, selected contact. We have taken one variable here in the parent components JavaScript, selected contact. We're calling this get contact list method, and a result will get stored here in the contacts. And this is the contact selected, which is the method contact selected. I'll tell you how it is getting called. And one local variable of this method in which we are storing this detail. So this is the handler method, right? Which we are calling from the child component. We are firing the event from the child component. And how do we handle? I'll show you on the UI. 1 second. So I'm just taking this lightning card and I'm just putting it here. Custom event parent component. Save this, and instead of this, write contact picture URL. I would like to replace with this. Okay, and okay, so this is the HTML of parent component, and if you guys can see from here, right, contact list. Instead of contact list, what I'll do is custom event child comp -3, and same thing we need to put here as well. Okay, it looks like we are good. So if you guys can see, what we're doing here is we are fetching some contacts from the apex by using wire method. Okay, get contact list. This is the method that we are calling here. So let me check in the class if we have this get contact list. Yes, we have it, and we are returning these contacts. Okay, list of contacts from this method. And what we are doing here is custom event parent. We're storing those contacts, and on the HTML side, what we're doing, we are iterating over those contacts, right? As we have taken this wire property, right? So that's why we're using contacts.data here. So we have taken one for each. So what we are checking here, list is not empty. So what is this list is not empty? This is the getter method. Okay, so this is how we can use the getter and setters here. So this is the getter method. So we need to put this syntax like this: get method name, and what it will return is this dot contacts. Okay, means it has some value, and we are taking this where this standard method like this array dot is array. We are having this, and this dot contact dot data dot length is greater than 0, meaning these contacts are having records, right? If only having records, then only iterate over it. So into it we have taken one for each, in which we are iterating over this contacts dot data. We have taken one variable contacts. So one by one contacts will get assigned over this, and into this iteration we are just putting this child component. So here in the child component we have one variable. If you remember, here we have taken one attribute, right? API attribute. So we are accessing this child components variable here in the parent component, and we are passing one contact, right? As we are in the iteration of it, right? Iteration of contacts data, right? From which these contacts are coming from the parent component, right? Because we are facing this contact from the parent component JavaScript, and we are iterating over it. But how we are passing one contact, right? So this is how we are passing one contact to this child component. From here, this is the variable that we are passing to the child component, and whatever value we have in this contact, right, will get assigned to this contact in the child components variable here. Okay, so and on selected, right, we are passing selected as event here, if you guys can see. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to follow this syntax. We need to append on, right? We need to mention on and event name, and then equal to, this will be the method handler method in your parent component. So contact selected. Okay, so contact selected is the method in which what we are doing here is, this is the handler method. We are passing the event dot details, right, from there. So from here we are passing details, right? So what we are getting here, we are just passing the contact ID. So what we are doing here is, in this parent components handler method, so this is we are just assigning this contact ID which is passed from the child component. We are storing here in the local variable of this particular method, and we have taken one variable selected contact. Okay, so this dot contacts dot data. So this is the method of array to find particular record in the array. So what we're doing here is, this dot contacts dot data dot find contact. Okay, so from one contact, look at this. So contact dot id from the current method, if equals to this id. So we are just looking for contact where this ID will get matched to the contacts in current contacts data. Okay, so it will, those contact will get find by this method and will get automatically assigned to this selected contact. And what we are doing here is, so if you guys can see, we have taken this lightning layout here. What we are doing here is, if we get this selected contact, right, selected contact here is in the parent component, and how we are getting it, we are passing that contact ID from child, and we are finding that contact in the parent components, this contacts, okay, this list, and though that particular contact will get assigned to this contact, sorry, this variable selected contact, and we are using this selected contact variable on the parent component to display fields of it, like a phone, email, and contact picture. So whenever, what will happen if we click here, right, what is there, we have in the child component, we have one HTML, right? So in this HTML, we have one reference URL, right? So that if we click on that URL, automatically the data of that component will get automatically displayed over here. So it's a, we are having communication, two-way communication here. We are passing data from child to parent, and again event is getting fired in the child, and then again passing data to the parent component. So I'll show you, I'll embed this where we can here, and I will edit it. Okay, let me see if we have pushed this parent component. Let me push it. I'll refresh it. Yeah, it's available. What I'll do is, I will put it here. Okay, 1 second. I will just remove it from here, and I will go. It's not looking good here. Okay, for now I'm just putting it here, and let's see how does it works. I'll save it, and I'll go back. So if you guys can see custom event parent component, and this is the list on which we are iterating, right? So this list is coming from child component. Okay, so if you click on this link, right, we have this functionality here. If we click on this name, right, so from here this name is coming. If you look at it in the child component, right, we have this href, and what is there in this href? We are having contact.name. Okay, we are having contact.name and this picture. So that's why this is how it's looking here. So once we click on it, what is happening here? If you see, details are getting changed, right? So once you click on this URL contact name, right, once you click on that name, this event is getting fired from here, selected, and we are passing this contact details, And what is happening there in the parent component? We have one contacts, right? List of contacts. So handler method will look at for the selected, click contact, and it will assign value to it. And this selected contact, we are using it for display the value, these values on the UI. Like we are seeing title, name, and phone and email, right? So you guys can see name, phone, and email. See, so this is two-way communication. We have already seen parent to child, like we were using these public properties, right, to access child variables in the parent variables, like we did it here. We are passing this, right? This is the variable which we are fetching from child and assigning one contact. While iterating one contact, we are assigning to this and on selected, right? So in the child component, where we can see that URL, right? Contact name along with the picture and URL. Once you click on this URL, your event will get fired in the child component, because we are here in the child component, right? So once we are passing this contact from here, that contact will get displayed over here, right? So meaning we are in the child component. And once you click on this URL here in the child component, then this then this event will get fired, and automatically this data will get displayed on the parent component. Are you guys are getting or not getting? Or shall I explain it one more time? Please do let me know. It's a bit confusing because two-way communications we are using here. Everybody is getting what we're doing here? Please do let me know if you have any queries so we can discuss over here. So it was the one-way, two-way communication, but if you guys can see in the previous example, right? If you take this example, right? I will explain you this one more time so you'll get more clarity. Don't get confused here. So this is our child, paginator is our child LWC component. And in the JavaScript, if you guys can see, only two methods we have, in which this is one of the way to dispatch the event. They are just passing the name of the event, right? No parameters, and just the name of the event without parameter. Just firing the events on click of these methods. And these are two buttons on which previous handler and next handler, these two methods are getting called. And these methods are just firing the events. And on the parent, if you guys can see, paginator on previous and on next. This is how they have handled it. And these are the handler methods on the parent component which are getting called. And what's happening here is the page is they have taken one variable in which they are just increasing and decreasing of pagination values. Guys are getting? So this will be the simple example, I think. So you can try it out by yourself, and maybe then you would be good, I think. Okay. So what we do have after that? Okay. So next is toast messages, right? If you want to display success, error, warning messages, how do we display? So let me show you how do we play with it. And let me go back to my screen. VS Code, sorry. So what I'll do is I will just take this hello world for now. Okay, instead of hello world. Okay, I would like to utilize this component. Okay, what I'm doing here is, so the toast event, right? First of all, before we, fire any event, right? So we need to import this toast event from the model, lightning model. So this is how we can import toast event from lightning platform show toast event. And then what you can do is, wherever you want to display these messages, you can just call this constructor, and into it you can pass this parameters title, message, and also we have some more parameters like message data we have, and we can also these parameters title, message data, variant we have like error, success, warning, like that, and mode we have different modes. So let me show you how we can do it. So for time being, what I'll do is I can simply copy this button and I will just comment it out. So I'm just copying it and putting it here, and in the child component I will copy this. We'll try different attributes of it. Toast event, and we also need to import this, right? So I will just import it here, and I will deploy. Okay, it deployed successfully. I'll go back here and I will just edit this. We'll put it here simply. I'll just take this out and okay, I'll save this. Changes saved. Go back to home page. Say this hello bash 3 is our component and show toast is, hopefully it will display C, get help. So let me do one thing. What we will do, as we are having different parameters, right? So we will utilize those. Let's put variant. And variant will be success. Let me deploy it and let's see. Okay, let's refresh it. Okay, it's not refreshed. See, this message is coming into this green pop-up, right? And if you want to see others as well, success, we can show error. So error messages, like if you want to put any validations, right, on button click or whatever it is. Let's say we want to require mark required fields, and we can check on the button click if that particular input is having value or not. If it is null, then display error message like please fill the value, something like that. So let me refresh it. So here, if you click here, okay, it's still not refreshed. See, in the red mark, in the red text, you can see this error message is coming out. So these are different variant that uh, we can apply here, right? So success warnings. Let's see how this warning looks like. Okay, so let me put it here, warning, and deploy it. We can dynamically put values here like a record ID or record name, something like that. We can just what we can do here is we can just concatenate this string and append and form that message statement, which will be displaying on the UI here. Let me refresh one more time. So see, this is how warning message is getting displayed over here. So this is how you can use the the toast messages, like on the button click, right? If you want to button click, what you can do is call the JavaScript method. Into the JavaScript method, you have to register this event. So before you use toast message, you have to import this platform show toast events, and then you have to call this constructor toast events, and into it you need to pass this parameters title, whatever title you want to give here, like error, success, whatever it is. Variant will be warning or whatever it is, warning, error, and success message, whatever message you want to give, you want to display. One more thing is there, like mode. Which kind of mode? Let's see how does mode works here. Like to see modes. What I'll do is mode, and so these are the modes. By default, it's a dismissals, means after 3 seconds that pop-up will go out, and then we have these different modes like paster and sticky. So by default, this is a dismissal that we valued values. So by default, let me try it out. Okay, let's try with sticky. And let me deploy it. And let's go back here. Let me refresh 2 times so it will. So we have chosen this sticky one, right? Mode sticky one. So it means until you click this cross icon, this message will get displayed over here. See, but if you choose We'll see. So for paster, right, paster is another mode which remains visible for 3 seconds and disappears automatically. So we don't need to click button. So we'll see that as well. I will just paste it here as paster and I'll deploy it. And I will just refresh this page. Okay. And let's see. So any kind of behavior that we want, we can set these modes and see the cross icon is not visible here right now. Previously it was visible and we don't need to click on it. It will automatically get disappeared. Okay. Next one is, let's see that as well. How does it behaves? So let me take this dismissals, which let me paste it here and let me deploy it. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to the screen and just refresh it 2 times. So here also it's getting out within few seconds, but what they are saying is valid values are these dismissals, paster and sticky. It's a default one. It remains visible until you click the close button or 3 seconds elapse. So if you want to, what it will do is it will wait for 3 seconds. And if you want to click it before that, you can click it. So even the paster and difference between paster and dismissals is paster will not having this cross button, right, to close it, and it will automatically get disappear from the screen. But in the dismissal we got this button as well, and if we don't click button, it will automatically get disappear. But before that, we need to quickly close this. We can close this as well. So this is the difference between these. So these are these parameters that we can utilize here. Message data in which we can display some values in array or object format, and this is the message title. So this is how we can display toast events on the UI based on some user interaction. So any doubts, guys, so far in the custom events and the toast events? So because we are close to the timing, so do let me know if we have any doubts. You guys have any doubts? So for create and dispatch events, you can simply refer this standard documentation, which is best documentation. Okay. Okay, 1 second. So what I'll do is I will simply paste it here. These 2 things. You guys can refer this. Okay, if you guys don't have anything, we are good to close the call. Thank you very much. We'll meet on day after tomorrow.